Well, I always talk about third parties.
Yes, there you go.
Um,
Okay, good. Talk to me about what's going on, Schwanda. Great background, by the way. Beautiful background,
oh,
right?
thank you so much.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you're not living with a person,
Hmm.
you're not living with a person, it is a long-term relationship, but you're not living with them. We live separate. Been together for about 3 years. And
Okay.
I feel that there's a pulling apart.
Right.
And I do have, people say things. I don't really follow rumors. We're both very influential in the area.
Hmm.
So people come to me and tell me things that they have seen.
Right.
And I feel that there's a pushing away. There's
Got
a
that.
pulling, is what I mean. There's a pulling
Pulling
away.
away.
And
Got that.
what I've noticed is that I reach out even more,
Hmm.
right? Trying to build the communication. And he always communicates, but I feel it. There's like
Right.
something intuitively telling
Right.
me.
All right. So do you guys live in the same area? How often? So do you live? Is it a long distance relationship?
No, we live in the same area.
You just don't live in the same house.
Right.
All right. But it's a 3-year relationship, and so I dealt with a couple that was like 7 years. They were engaged for 7 years.
Oh,
Just
Jesus.
like grown people like you, grown woman like beautiful, well put together. Why aren't y'all living in the same house? Isn't that a first question you want to ask? Something's up, right? Something's up. Something's up. Been up for a while though, right? Am I right?
Right.
All right. So what's the excuse? Like what? So for 3 years, right? What is it? What do you think? What do you think that it is that why you did not take that next step in the first place?
He says that he likes his space. And at first it wasn't like that. But
Hmm.
I began to start talking about, I want us to live together. And I began to continue to talk about, okay, why are we not living together? And then it seems like he got farther and further apart.
I got that. Yeah. So you started pushing him, and he's a big "don't tell me what to do," and then he got stressed, and then he pushed away, basically. All
Right.
right, good. I got that. And so you obviously stopped doing that. You're a very intelligent woman, clearly.
Yeah.
So you stopped doing that. And how long ago did you stop doing that? Was that like at the end of year one or
Probably last year.
so it's 2 years of pushing him that way? But he
Yeah.
stuck around, so you were doing something right. You know what I mean? He stuck around, right? And but he's still not moving inside that in that direction.
Right.
Okay, so that happened, and now you can feel him pulling away. Yeah, well, that makes sense though, right? Because at some point, guys, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. If you're not growing, you're dying. It's just the way that it is. And so if the relationship hasn't moved to that next level, then that's where you are. Here's what I want to say inside of your situation is number one, we want to watch for the stress elements because you could be stressing it doesn't sound like you have toxicity, long-term toxicity in your relationship. It doesn't sound like, besides the stress of trying to, pressure him into taking that next step, right?
Mhm.
But it sounds like there is some active toxicity. There's some things that are going on that are given him. Do you tell me what those are? Do you know what those are already?
Um, well, I always talk about third parties.
Yes. There you go.
Um, I'm always, you know, yeah, that's something I always kind of do innuendos about a lot.
Right. Oh, you one of those passive aggressive, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you're smart with it. You don't, not in their face. You ain't like, what about this girl?
No,
But it's
no.
in the background. You say something to on the side about it, right? And so that's what's happening with you.
I'll say, if you want to talk to me about something that's going on, you can talk to me.
Yeah, because you kind of, there are kind of signs like that. You're smart is the bottom line inside of that. And so he said, what does he say when you say that?
I'm stressing him out.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Didn't we just talk about it? We move toward whatever triggers happy hormone. We move away from whatever causes stress.
Yes.
Now, how do you deal with that? Now, see, guys, here's the trick, all right, with Shawanda is she's very smart, but then she's like, how do I deal with this then? If I can't talk about it, it's happening, but how do I deal with it? And that's what she's dealing with. I can't bring it up. I can't talk about it. If I talk about it, I stress the relationship. If I don't talk about it, then it continues to be a cancer inside the relationship, potentially, or I'm at least dealing with it, is the bottom line, right? Wondering in the background if these things are happening or not happening. All right, I got it. So, Schwanda, here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is for everybody here inside the conversation. This will make a really big difference for everybody, okay? Is when you're the biggest thing that you got to trigger in him. You can't convince him to be with you. You cannot convince him. You've already tried. I know. You already tried. You spent 2 years trying, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can't convince him to want to be with you, right? And look, and guys, you can see Schwanda, she's very well put together. She's got her stuff together. You know what I'm saying? She's educated. She's, well spoken, and clearly she loves this guy. She's been with him in a committed relationship for this time. She's got, on paper, she looks right. You guys understand what I'm saying? It all looks good. And by the way, I'm sure it all is good. But none of that matters, because what's going to make the difference is, can she trigger his happy hormone so he wants to come toward her or not? It doesn't matter. She could be better than the next girl. She could be better than all of them. It will not make a difference. Seriously. How many of you know that you've seen somebody, or you've been in a situation where the person, you watched a relationship where somebody left another person and they went to a lesser person, what we would call a lesser person. It happens all the time. But you know why that happens? It happens because people make decisions based upon what they feel, not based upon what logically makes sense, right? And so at the end of the day, what you got to do, Schwanda, is that you're going to have to trigger his happy hormone again the way that you did in the beginning, right? In fact, you're going to have to find new ways to trigger that happy hormone, because the relationship has shifted. So I can see right now there are a couple of things that need to happen. I dare say that he's what we call serotonin already. I can tell. I don't know what his other one is, but I know that he probably is an alleviating stress. Let me tell you what I mean by that in a second. Number one is we have to take away the things that you're doing that are stressing the relationship. That's got to stop. You got to actually do this work behind the scenes. You can't do it straight on like you're doing it. Even though you're being passive aggressive, you're still like coming straight at him, trying to talk mind to mind, which is not going to work. Okay. It ain't working for him. Okay. Is the bottom line. It's going to stress him out, and it's not going to have him make a decision. So we got to stop doing that. Whatever you're doing right now, stressing the relationship, we got to stop, because it's making him go away. The next thing that we've got to do, we got to figure out what those other things that you're doing, because you have a few stressors inside your communication with him and the way that you're being. So we got to take those out completely, and it's going to move the relationship forward. The next thing that we got to do is we got to figure out what his happy hormones are. All right, what are his primaries? All right, and so he sounds like somebody. Tell me if I'm right about this. He likes to look good. Tell me if I'm right about that. All right, I don't know, because I don't know him. You haven't told me a lot, but it kind of get a feel already. Does he like to look good? Does he,
Reputation, I'm a doctor, and so our reputation matters a lot.
100%. He likes to look good. He likes to look good in front of people, and most importantly, not look bad too, right? Is the bottom line. Yeah, right on, right? 100%. Yes, and doctors as well. Doctors are, would be considered mostly serotonins as well. Serotonin obviously is a happy hormone. I'm talking to a doctor, but inside of what I'm doing, how we're going to utilize this is that that means, or that archetype, that person literally likes to look good and needs to avoid looking bad. And if you make them look bad, it's a major stressor, huge, and they'll run away from you. They'll run in the opposite direction, is the bottom line. And so if you've done any of that, or if they know that they can't be the good guy with you, they will literally, so you can't make him the villain. He's not allowed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you do, that literally his whole entire life is built around that. Especially in that field. So serotonins, we help people, we like to look good, we like to be the difference maker, and we compare ourselves with other people, and we like to be above them. That's the ugly, that's the good, the bad, the ugly of it, is how it works, okay, is the bottom line. And so when you don't make the serotonin feel like they're above, like they're a priority, like they're the man or the woman or whatever else it is, it not only doesn't let them have the happy hormone, it actually stresses the relationship to such a degree that they want to run away. They want to go find somebody else who's going to now make them be the the hero. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make us now you're like, I mean, I'm seeing you. You're having a reaction inside of that for sure, right? You're like, oh, that makes sense. That totally makes sense, right? So you're gonna need to, number one, we're gonna have to take out some of this stuff because there is some, now that we're talking and I'm with you, there is some toxicity, right? There's some toxicity. The long-term toxicity or cortisol, as we call it, would be coming from that he doesn't necessarily feel like he is that man sometimes with you, not enough, all right? And so we have to now clean that up. That's the thing that has to get cleaned up in your relationship. Because if you don't clean that up, then he can't make himself available to you. It just sits inside of your relationship as a problem. And it's the elephant in the room for him, right? Yeah. And so those 2 years, although you're so well put together, you're so smart, you're so everything, you got everything on paper, that elephant is not going to have him be able to move towards you the way that you want to. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So we've got to take that out,
Yeah.
is the bottom line. We have to. Now you can take that out, and then you know now that he's a serotonin. We've established 100% he's a serotonin. Doctor, likes to look good, doesn't want to look bad, reputation's important, all that stuff, 100%. By the way, you fit the bill for all that. You on his arm is like, yes, it's like you make him look good, right? Is the bottom line. So inside of that, we know he's a serotonin. Now you've got to feed that serotonin. Because if you're triggering that happy hormone and you're leaving him feeling bigger in every communication, being with him, guess what happens? He doesn't need to go anywhere else and he's going to want to come towards you. That's the bottom line. He's getting what he needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that literally will change the game and give you access to shift in the relationship. That's the thing that's got to happen.
Awesome.
Okay. Did that make a difference for you? What'd you hear
Yeah.
inside of what I shared?
I actually heard that there are some things that I have, the triggers, I have triggers, and he talks about that I trigger him.
Yes.
Um, the things that I do that triggers him, those things I really have to stop and just
You
pull
really
them
do.
out and
Yes.
stop those things because I am very pushy. And so because
Good
I
for
look at
you.
myself as a catch. So I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly. Especially because you're also serotonin, right? You really are. 100%. You're so well put together. You come on this line, I know exactly who you are. The background is perfect. Your hair is perfect. Everything's perfect. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
your pose is perfect. You got perfect posture, like everything, right? So
Yeah.
you got everything put together. You're a serotonin and you're a doctor. You
Yeah.
are a serotonin to a T, right? And so the thing about it is now that you got somebody who's not making you a priority and not honoring you to the level and the degree, oh my gosh, we're about to, that's a trigger, right? It's going to be a big trigger. And it's giving you stress too, in the
Yes.
same exact way, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So here's what I want to say. I would love for you to get in a conversation with us about this, just to say, right? And so work on this. You can work on this on your own. But the thing that I actually would want you to work with us on is the cleanup conversations. Because you got to do some cleanups inside of the toxicity that you left him with. We got to get that elephant out of the room, is the
Yeah.
bottom line. And that's the most important part. You're going to be able to trigger his happy hormone, right? You're going to be able to do that, right? Because literally you are set up to be that. You literally, just you choosing him was a big serotonin spike for him, is the bottom line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we have to get back, we have to get that elephant out of the room so that now that gets to be the focus of your relationship again. It makes him want to come towards you. And then we get to the place where we're triggering it so well, he says, hey, we should live together. What are we doing not living together? And that's and now we get to progress the relationship because he's got everything that he needs right here with you. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, it does.
And you don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to convince him. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just trigger, 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 trigger. He wants to come towards you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the relationship progresses. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. I'd love for you to just get in a conversation and see if this is a match for you as a bottom line. As far as, I mean it on the cleanup conversation part so we can progress it. If he is going away from you and being the kind of person that he is, you guys don't need each other. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about your relationship that you have to move on, because you don't need each other. You choose each other, which is a really, it's special and it's magical, but it's also the stuff that you have to watch for, because now you don't have that much, either one of you can say, I'm out at any given time, right? So we have to, he's still in flux. He's giving you the cold shoulder. He's kind of moving away, pulling away. But we have to use what we have as far as our contact before he actually says it or does it or even makes up his mind about it. We have to use it now to shift the relationship before he'd be a absolute I'm out. And it's going to be tough to change your mind or his mind when that decision gets made. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
All right, cool, awesome. Shoot admin just have a conversation with us, okay? Is the bottom line. I would love to. I'd love to work with you and see you all the way through this, okay?
All right.
Guys, give it up for Schwanda. Thank you so much. Beautiful. All right, perfect. Okay.